Dutch. Dutch.
I think you're lying.
Oh, hi. Good morning. It's Thursday. Good morning. We're minus Joey today. Used to looking up at Joey's face to tell me I'm on. We're live, so go ahead and type in a comment to us. Tell us good morning. Tell us who's there. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know who's out there. Let's see if I can guess who will be first. Elizabeth's been first.
Felicia's already on.
Oh, Felicia's already there, so let's see. Casey was yesterday. Sophia, Casey, both. Tell me who's there. See if Elizabeth has signed in yet.
Donovan's on.
Donovan's on. That's right. I think Donovan was on first yesterday. So Donovan beat everybody to the punch. So let's see. I've got Donovan. I got Sophia and Casey maybe. I usually see Elizabeth's free in the mornings that joins us. Lydia and Patrick. Have Lydia and Patrick signed on yet? Give me a thumbs up, guys. Tell me you're there. Who else? Nick. See if Nick signs on. We're using colored pencils today. We're using our other piece of black paper today. We're going to do this very cool bunch of wildflowers. So I like my bunch of wildflowers. I call them wildflowers. I've kind of made up my own species of flower here. They kind of remind me of snapdragons. They grow on a long stem.
Casey's there today. Cora and Sunny.
Hi, Casey.
Your sister. Larry
Cora and
Jensen.
Sunny. My sisters. Hi, Deb. Who signed on?
Laura Jensen.
Nick's on.
Yeah, Nick.
Hi, Nick. We're using our colored pencils today. We're using our other piece of black paper. So that leaves us with our other watercolor paper for tomorrow. We're going to do this very cool watercolor and Sharpie and colored pencil. We're going to do a mixed media tomorrow on our watercolor paper. Today we're making a bunch of wildflowers. And my sister probably remembers this. I always like to make up my own species of flower. I'm not much of a gardener. Most everything I would try to grow dies. So when I paint flowers or I draw flowers, I kind of give an impression of a flower. I'm not that good at knowing which flower is which to draw a specific flower. So I've made up these little stems of wildflowers, and they remind me of snapdragons. Anybody ever seen snapdragons?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth Wainscott.
Yeah.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Lydia and Patrick.
Hi, Lydia. Hi, Patrick. Do I see Sarah, Elizabeth, and her mom? Not yet. Sometimes I think they've been signing on later. Snapdragons are these cool little flowers, and they grow up a stem like that. A whole line of them growing up the stem, and they open up like this, and they're called snapdragons because you can take your fingers and go boom, and they snap closed. And we had a lady who lived next door to us when I was a kid, and she had really pretty flower gardens on the side of her house that faced our house. And I used to love to sneak over there, and she grew these really pretty snapdragons, and I'd scrunch each one of them. That's a terrible thing to do. That's what I remember about snapdragons. So these kind of look like little stems of wildflowers that we're going to draw today. I've used purples and blues and reds, a little yellow. I've used all kinds of colors. So I kind of made sure I had odd numbers of different colors. I kind of mixed my colors up. You can be thinking of whatever colors you like. I'll give you a hint though. Certain colored pencils show up better on black paper than others do. So I'm going to show you some hints of what to use the colored pencils for. And let's see if we've got most people signed on. Do you think, Mr. Mark? Joey's always giving me like little counts. This is going to be a different day. I don't have Joey doing his usual clues and things for me. Mr. Mark's going to run my camera for me. So if you've got your black paper, we don't need the little cardboard clipboard today. We just need your set of colored pencils and your black paper. And I need to get a piece of black paper. I always forget to bring over my supplies. So we're going to use our black paper and our colored pencils, and that's really all we need. We don't even need our pencil and our eraser today because I'm going to show you a really easy way we're going to plot out our picture. I've got my little pencil sharpener that I found yesterday, Mr. Joey found for me. And see, I was smart today. I got a little plastic cup, so when I sharpen my pencils with my little hand sharpener, all the little shavings are going to fall in my plastic cup. So I've got my sharpener. Get your colored pencils, get your black paper, and we will be ready to go. I'm going to have Mr. Mark move the camera up and get situated here. We'll move my bag over and see if he gets me situated like Mr. Joey usually does. You just unplugged something.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. We'll give Mr. Mark a few minutes because he's not used to doing this. And we need to, Joey usually moves these so I'm in where he's got the camera. So let me know if I'm in the right place, Mr. Mark. So we can see everything. Can we see the lines on here? And what I'm gonna need is we'll want to zoom in on this side. Because, yeah, right here, because this is where I'm gonna be drawing very lightly. So I want you to be able to get them so they can see. Okay, are you guys ready? We got your colored pencils. I think everybody, no matter which set of colored pencils I gave you, I think you have 2 shades of green. I think everybody does. We're going to use this lighter green. If you have 2 shades of green, we're going to use this lighter one. This one says, if you have these that say Blick on them, it says yellow green right here on the pencil. So if you've got a couple different shades of green, get your lightest shade of green. Darker colors are harder to see on the black paper. That kind of makes sense, doesn't it? The paper's black, you put a dark color on, doesn't show up as well. Except that's not always true. I used my black colored pencil and look how the black pops on the black paper. Mostly that's because we don't have a really dark black paper. Okay? We're going to make this bunches of flowers. And what we want to do is we want to make it look like we picked a number of different flower stems. We crunched them together and tied a little ribbon around them. In order to do that, we want the stems to look like they come down and go through the little ribbon, right? I don't want to have a stem coming this way and not see a stem going this way underneath it. So we got to kind of think of the angle of our stems. And the other thing I want you to notice that makes a good picture is, are all my stems the same height? No. Are all the bottoms of the stems the same length? No. We don't want this to look like somebody went to the barber and got a haircut. We don't want it to look like one of those topiaries where they've trimmed all the bushes exactly the same size so they look like Mickey Mouse's ears. We want this to look like we just went out in the yard and picked a whole bunch of wildflowers to send to somebody, to give them bunches of love. So we want some of our stems to be shorter, some to be longer, same up here. And are they all straight? Does this stem go straight up? No, it curves just a little bit. Does this stem go straight up? Pretty much. Does this stem kind of curves a little this way? I love this one over here. This one comes in kinds of curves right down that way. So we don't want everything to look the same like it's a fan. We want them to be different heights. We want them to be different angles. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to give ourselves a little guideline with our green and our white. So I'm going to pick a spot to put my knot around the wildflowers. And to make this look like kind of a cool composition, this is about the middle of the paper, right? So I want my knot to be down below. I want most of my flowers to be in the top of my picture. So I want to leave myself enough room, so I'm going to put my knot down below the middle of the paper. If I look at where the middle of the paper is this way, that's about the middle of my paper, right about there. So I put my knot just a little over. So I'm going to do the same thing on my piece of paper here to kind of decide. I'm going to take my white first, and here's about the middle of my paper across this way, right? So I want to go down below that. And I want to be, here's about the middle of the paper. I'm going to put it over to the side just a little bit. And all I'm going to do with my white colored pencil right now is put just a little small curve. We don't want the middle of our bunch of flowers to be really wide, right? We want to look like we've scrunched them together in our hand. So I'm going to give myself just a little, this is a guideline. This is where I'm going to put my knot. So I'm going to give myself one little line like that. That's where I'm now going to draw some stems. I'm going to put my white colored pencil back there. I'm going to give myself some guidelines with my stems. Now, I don't want to press real hard with my green right now because I want to be able to color my flowers over the stems. Some stems I'm going to see come up higher. Some flowers are going to come down lower on the stem. So I want to see a variety of stems up in here. So I'm going to draw them very lightly with my pencil. I'm going to try pressing just a little harder so you can see my line. You try to press as lightly as you can. You just need to press hard enough that you can kind of have a guideline. So as long as you can see that, don't press any harder. I'm going to press a little harder. So I might make my lines not solid. That will give me places to put my flowers. So I'm going to pick maybe the center one. I'm going to make one in the middle come really tall. See how tall my flowers come? Up near the top. Now, do I need the green line to go all the way to the top here? No. As long as I've got a guideline. So I'm going to put a line and I'm going to go like that. Now I might draw my flowers all the way up to here. But this is going to be a guideline. Now remember how I said these bottoms of the stems have to look like they're part of the stems up here? So if this stem was coming down here, where is it going to go? Here comes my stem. It's going to go through the knot, and I'm going to have it come right on down there. So let's put one that's going to go over here to the side. Maybe I'll make my side one not so tall. So I'm going to start from the bottom here. This is going to be a shorter stem. I'm going to come up through my little knot here and make a stem go over there. This, we're kind of, think of it as we're plotting out like the skeleton of our bunch of leaves, where we're going to put things. So I got one that's going to go that way. I'm going to make this one a little taller. So let's see. I really like this one that curves over here. So maybe I'll put that one in. I'll come up from over here, right into my knot, and make it curve over there. I don't want this to look too matchy-matchy. They kind of look almost the same, don't they? And you know, Miss Ginny, I don't like things to look exactly the same. So maybe I'll put one more. We'll do a little short one. It's going to come right next to this one, but it's going to really loop over. I think I like that. We'll have two of these little loopy ones over here. Now let's put a few more coming up through the middle. So I'll just make one come up here right into my knot and make another one come up here. I'll make that one even taller. How about if I do one going this way? And what do you think? Do I need to draw a stem for every one of these? No. As long as we kind of have our skeleton and where we're going to fit our flowers, could I just go in and start drawing a stem of flowers here without a stem underneath? Yep, we've got enough stems going down here. I might remind myself I want a short one in the middle here. So I'll come right down here and make the bottom of it come. Maybe it's got a long stem on the bottom and just a short one on the top. And maybe I'll give myself one more on this side. And you know what would be cool? I can draw part of the stem here, and maybe we'll see the stem peek through, almost like make a dotted line here. We can have a little green stem show through. I forgot to do that on most of these. I see a little green stem showing through here, a little bit right in here. It's kind of neat to see the green stem in some parts instead of just having solid flowers. So did I draw the bottom of this one? Kind of looks like either one of those could be the bottom, couldn't it? Okay, so I've got a big cluster of stems. I've got a big cluster of stems up here. So that's probably a good starting point for us. Can I go back and add some more? When we finish our flowers, if I feel like we need to add some more, I kind of step back and look at it. And if one part looks like you got lazy and didn't pick enough flowers and it looks a little sparse, we'll add some more. We can always go back and add some more. So I'm going to put my green in my bucket there for just a few minutes, and I'm going to decide what color I want to start with. I've done some blues. I used the dark blue and the light blue, and even used a little bit of the white here, you can see in some spots. I used my purple, and I had some white with my purple. I also used some of my red and my red orange. This one's the red orange with the yellow. That's probably my least favorite flower. I like this one over here. And what I discovered is particularly with the purple flowers, the purple didn't show up quite as nicely by itself. I ended up putting some white down and then coloring over it with the purple. It made the purple pop a little more. But I want to show you about making my flowers here. They kind of look like little cups that are going all the way up the stem. And we want to leave some spaces in between. So I'm going to show you, let's just pick one. How about this one? We'll start with this one. And I'm going to start down here at the bottom because I want to remind myself on the bottom of some of them I want to see more stem. I think we're going to leave some stem showing here. I'm going to start down here, and I'm just going to put some white on. Think of making a little cup. So I'm going to go up and down with my flower, and I'm going to make a little cup like that. Kind of made a little cup right around my stem. Then I'm going to leave a little bit of my black space showing. I'm going to put a little bit of flower on that side. I'm not going to make it go all the way over here. I want them all to be a little bit different shape. I'm going to come on this side and put a little bit of flower over here. I might make a whole nother big cup here. Some places I'll leave a little bit of black. Some places I'll leave more black. So color all the way up. As we go up to the top, they can get a little narrower. See how most of my stems are a little fatter at the bottom of flowers, and the flowers kind of come up to a point. So we can make sure our bottoms are nice and full and fat at the bottom. And then we can kind of climb up our little stem there. I like leaving some of my green stems showing. But make each side look a little different. We don't want it to look too matchy-matchy. We don't want to look like we're drawing a ladder here. And as I get to the top, they're getting a little more narrow. See how big this one is compared to this one? Goodness. And then as I get to the top, I'm kind of just wanting to get to a little point up here. So there's my first little flower. See how much black space I've left? See how many times I see my little green stem? The green stems we drew lightly right now. We're going to go back in places. After we're all done with the flowers, we'll go back with our green and make it a little darker. But there's the flower. Now I'm going to turn this one into a purple flower. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my purple and I'm going to go right over the top of my white. I'm not going to try to cover up all the white because I think it's kind of cool on here where we see little bits of the white showing. So I'm going to go over some of the white. I might even go over some of the black paper in between. So I'll get all these like different shades of purple showing up. So I'm going to start here at the bottom and I'm going to go over some of my white. So I see the purple. I'm going to let some of the white keep showing. I don't want to go over all of it. I like all these different shades on my flower. I'm going to fill in a little bit right here, right on the black paper. I'm going to leave that black paper showing. I'll come put a little purple up here. Fill in a little of that black paper there. Pull in a little of that one. So this is fun. There's no right or wrong to it, except to leave a little of the black paper still showing in places and leave a little of the white where you don't put purple all the way over it. You can fill in some of the black with your purple, fill in parts of the white with your purple, leave a little bit of white showing, leave a little bit of black paper showing. And this is going to make a really cool little purple wildflower here. Some of you that are gardeners might write me a comment and tell me what kind of flower. Do they look like a certain kind of flower? Or did I just create a whole new species in my mind? Anybody that's a good gardener out there can type in a comment and tell me what our flower looks like. Okay, so I got one purple one going off here. This is kind of a big one. It's kind of a long one. So I want to jump around. Do I want to put all the purples in one place, all the blues in another place, and all the reds in another place? You could, if that's what you want to do. You could make some red and make some orange and make some yellow and make some, I don't think we'd have green flowers. Make some blue, make some purple. You could make a whole rainbow bouquet. I like to mix up the colors. I think it makes a more interesting composition. So if I've done a purple one here, I could put one next to it here, but I don't think I want to put a purple one right next to it. You know what I think would look nice next to it would be a blue one. Now I've got a stem coming up here. I could put it right here, which might be fun. I drew this stem only to here, so I might come give myself, I was going to make this a short one, but I might give myself just a couple little pops of my stem showing there. And let's come in and we'll make a really little short blue one. Can I have a short one right in the middle of the bouquet? Yeah, why not? Maybe we'll have these flowers start down below here a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make kind of a little cup, kind of like an upside down pyramid. I'm going to put my white on here because the blue looks better on top of white too. I'm going to leave lots of black. Probably leave a little bit more black on my blue one here because I want to use dark blue and light blue with it. So I'm going to kind of alternate putting some on, some are going to go all the way across, some are only going to be on one side, some are going to be on the other side. And we'll come up here till we get a little top knot. So we'll do a really little short one here in the middle. I might end up thinking that looks funny and I might need it to be taller, but we can always change it as we go along. I'm going to take my light blue. I'm going to do the same thing I did with the purple. I'm going to go over part of my white. In some places, I might only put the blue on one side. Maybe over here, I'm only going to put it on this side. I'm going to leave a little bit of my white showing. Let's put a little blue up in here. Maybe I'll just put a little blue right there in the middle. A little blue at the top there, and then I'm going to use my dark blue. This one's my dark blue. This is the one that says blue on it. This one actually says, well, I've worn it off. I've used this blue so much, but I think it says sky blue or light blue on it. Now I'm going to come in with my dark blue. I could put dark blue over the white. I can put even some dark blue over some of my light blue. Try to leave little peaks of white showing. Even try to leave some peaks of the black paper showing. I can let it go right over on top of my purple flower there. So it makes it look a little crowded down here in my bouquet. So put a little, I like this big gap right there. I'm going to see some of my dark blue showing in that big gap there. Let's put a little bit up in here. We don't have to put it everywhere, but look at the, doesn't that make a pretty flower? The more shades of something that we see, the better it usually looks. When you just have one color, it looks a little flat, a little boring. Okay, so I got a purple, I got a blue. I think I'm gonna add another blue over here. Maybe we'll make this really long one a blue here. And I think I'll leave a lot of stem showing here. I kind of like these spots here where I saw lots of stems showing. So I don't want all my flowers to be too close to the bottom there. So I'm going to leave a nice long amount of stem there. And since this is going to be a really tall one, I'm going to make it really wide at the bottom here. But I'm going to jump around. And I'm going to leave lots of gaps. I'm making these like kind of upside down pyramids is what they kind of look like. I'm just kind of going back and forth with my pencil here. I can make some of the edges kind of curl out. On a really big flower like this, I could get a little bit more detail with it. We'll make it look like the little edges of these flowers kind of curl out a little bit. Now, I wouldn't want them to curl out too much as I go up my flower. Remember, the bottom wants to look the widest, and I want to start getting a little narrow as we go up. So We can curl them out a little bit, but I'm going to start squishing them in on the sides. So if you're curling out, be sure and watch. It's kind of like how we draw a tree trunk. You always have to watch that the bottom's your widest and you get slightly narrower as you go up. See how much black space I've left between them? You need that black space to be able to make some interesting flower colors. Okay, I'm starting to get narrow up here. Maybe we'll keep it just a little wider over here. This is going to be a really tall one. I'm leaving some big gaps of black here so I can come back with my green. Maybe let some stems show up here. There we go. This is the really tall one. It's taller than this one because we want to keep looking at the shape overall of everything. We want things to have some different heights and some different widths. Okay? I got white on here. What color should we make this one? I was going to make it a blue one. Should I do a blue? Let's do a blue. I like my blue. So I'm going to come in here and remember, I'm going to go over some of my white, some places with the black. I'll go over with the blue, put a little blue in here, put a little blue up here. This could be mostly a white flower with just little hints of blue on it. And let's see. I think I kind of like that. We're going to leave more white on this flower. So it could be like a cousin to that flower over there. Looks like it's from the same family, but a little bit different. That's what's kind of fun. When you're making a bunch of flowers like this, we're giving the impression of a flower. It kind of, I think it looks like a flower. I'm waiting for one of you gardeners out there to tell me what kind of flower it is. But there's no right or wrong. I'm making up a flower in my head, so I can kind of do whatever I want with it. So I'm making sure it gets a little smaller as it comes up. It kind of looks like a stem of flowers. I'm going to add a little bit of dark blue over here. How's Mr. Mark doing with our camera? Can you guys see what I'm coloring here? Everybody see okay? Give me some thumbs up. Are you using some cool colors? Anybody using colors besides my blue and purple yet? I'm going to show you what the red does. Let me show you. The next flower we'll do, we'll use those reds and oranges, and I'll show you how they're going to look. Okay, I kind of like this one. It looks a lot like this flower, but it's got more white in it, which I kind of like. It makes a nice variety here. And before I forget, I'm going to take my green. Oops, I need this yellowy green. I'm going to take this light green before I forget. I'm going to make sure and darken my stem. Right in here where I can still see a little bit of my stem. I wanted to make sure I came in those couple spots. See how we just see a little hint of the stem showing? I kind of like that. Okay, I want to show you what the red's going to do. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start with my white. And where will be a good spot to put a red? Should we make this curve over here be a red? And let's see. This one comes pretty close down on its stem. So maybe I think we'll make the red come almost all the way down to the bottom here. I'm not going to make this one such a big bushy one. Since it's a short one, we'll make it a little more narrow. I'm going to start at the bottom. Not going to make it quite so big. I'm gonna even not put some on some sides, although I do kind of want this one to look like it goes behind this purple one a little bit. So let's see if we can make it look like it's peeking out from behind there. And we'll let this one droop over just a little on the top. Okay, we gave it a little bit of a droop there. Its top kind of curved over in a droop. Okay. Now, I've got actually what I think of as 3 different reds in the red family. I've got this one pencil that says red on it. It looks kind of pink to me. And then this one that looks red says orange. And this one says red orange. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, the red orange is the darkest one. I'm going to put a little of this dark one on and see how I like it. Some of it goes past the white onto the black here. Some of it's on the white. Put a little of it over here. I want it to look like it goes behind this purple one. So I'm going to keep it behind this blue and purple one here. Maybe put a little of this dark red up in here. Maybe just a little on this side. Then I'm going to try just the red, this one that looks a little pinky to me. So let's just try our red on here. They don't look very different, honestly. All these red colors of my colored pencils don't show up too differently on black paper. Now, if we were on white paper, they might look a little different. And maybe a little of our orange. Should we do a little orange on here? The orange is the one that shows up the least amount, I think. So I don't think it's really worth using that orange too much. And mostly I covered up all my white, didn't I? So I might come back in with my white and just make some little peaks of white. Kind of have to, once I've colored over the white, kind of have to put, if I'm putting white back on, it's kind of has to be out at the edges a little bit. Doesn't show up too well right on top of the red colored pencil, but I've put a little bit right out at the edge of that colored pencil. I kind of like the red one. I like the red one next to the blues and purples. So maybe, so we mix it up, maybe I should make this one a red one right in here. Then I can add some more blues and purples. I don't want to have a red one on both ends, so I think we'll definitely do a purple one over here. But maybe we'll put one more red one coming right up the middle here. Should leave a long stem here. I don't want to see too much gaps here. So since this is a long stem and this one I see stems on, maybe we'll make this one start right down here. It'll get real bunched up right down in here. Now, I'm going to leave a lot of black space because remember I'm going to use the red and the red orange and the white. So I need lots of space to add colors. And I want this one to look like it goes behind my blue flower here. So I'm going to get it right up next to my blue flower there. Should we make this one nice and wide? I don't need to make it wide just to fill in all this space. I could add another stem right there, which I might do. Okay, let's give ourselves some white coming up here. I'm going to leave lots and lots and lots of black space there. And we're going to come up and up and up and up. I like that. Okay, the dark red, the red orange here. Let's put a little dark on. Now we want to leave a lot of the white showing. Because remember, it's hard to make the white go over it. I want this flower to look like it disappears behind this blue one. So I'm being very careful not to go over the white petals of my blue flower there. Come up this side. There we go, right up on top. I'm leaving a lot of the white showing. And I'm going to put a little of this red on there. How about if we add some red down here at the bottom? To make our bottom kind of get filled in with flower petals down here. And we'll just add some little touches of red in a few places. Maybe a little bit up here. Okay, kind of like that red one. Okay, I'm going to add a couple more purples. I think I might make both of these purple. Or should I make a purple and a blue? Purple and a blue, that might be a good idea. We'll make this one purple. I'm going to leave some stems showing. Now it's a short little stem, so I don't want to give it quite such a wide bushy flower. I'm going to leave a lot of black showing. Just let him droop over a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and do this one too. Might make these flower petals come closer to our bottom of our stem there. And that looks kind of cool. Now I might go ahead and block in this flower too with my white. Since white goes down first for everything, we can kind of block in all our flowers with the white. What do you think? I got a tall one here. These are tall. I don't want it the same height as this one, do I? But maybe not quite as tall as these, so maybe about here. It's kind of good to stop and look at your composition and tell where you want to put it. Okay, so I want it to look like it peaks down in between all these things that are around it. So I'm going to make it, I want it to kind of fill in the middle of my bouquet there, so don't want it too skinny. And here's my little dot I gave myself. That's a good thing to do, because otherwise you get going and all of a sudden you're like, oh darn, I didn't want it to go that high. So I see my little dot, that's where I wanted to stop. Then you can kind of look and go, it looks like kind of a wimpy bouquet, doesn't it? It looks a little sparse. You think we need to fill it in some places? I think we need to fill it in a few places. This kind of is looking good in through here, but maybe we need to put another one right here. I can lightly with my white pencil. What do you think? Another one right there, that would fill in nicely. And maybe we do another one over here. Even maybe one right up in here. Then we can kind of leave this gap. We don't want it to get too solid. But I'm gonna see about those three. I think that might fill in nicely, do you? Let's fill this one in. So it's gonna come right down in here, so we get a nice big bunch over here. I might take my green. I lightly drew those lines with my white, just because that's what was in my hand. So I might put a little green in there, just so I see a little touch of green. Make this one get a little fuller. It's going to go across the stem right there. I'm going to go leave that stem showing there. Okay, oh, that fills in nicely. Now over here, let's make some of this stem green. And maybe we'll see a little of the stem up here. Okay. So let's leave some stem showing there. We'll start this flower way up here. Maybe a little bit down on this side. Get it more bunchy next to this guy over here. And pull it up. Make your little V's here. I'm gonna let my green stem show right there. I'm gonna get a little bit on the top here. We'll put a little on this side. That's looking kind of good. Should we fill in this one a little bit? We'll make this green stem. I think I got enough stems going down there that I don't really have to worry about seeing my stem. Okay, let's put a little bit of flower in here. Then we'll have to decide what colors are going to look good on these. I want it to go behind my red one there. Don't want it to be the same height as this one, so maybe this one's going to be a little taller. You got to look at all these things when you're making a picture. You want to look at all those little angles so everything's not the same. What do you think? That definitely looks like a nicer bunch of flowers. Do you think we have to do a little short one in between here? Maybe we could just do and have its stem come out. Maybe we do just a short little one there that barely got into the bunch. And we'll make it a little longer. Okay, let's get this one on here. Put some of my flower across the stem, some on either side of the stem, a little bit across the stem there, and a little bit poking out the top. Oh, I kind of like that. These kind of bunch together, closer together, and then we get this guy way down here by himself. I think that'll make a nice bunch of flowers. What do you think? Are you liking your bunch of flowers? Okay. Now I've kind of plotted in, I've kind of filled in the bouquet. And what you want to do now is look at, okay, let's mix up my colors. I want the bouquet to look like it's got pretty flowers. So I've got a couple red ones. You know me, how I like odd numbers. Odd numbers of things look much more interesting than even number of things. So if I've got 2 reds, I think I'll plan 1 more red. That would give me an odd number of reds. And then I'll fill in the rest with blues and purples. So if I'm going to make 1 more red, I think I'll start with the red this time instead of the red-orange. 1 more red, what do you think? I don't want it to look too matchy-matchy, so I don't want to do this one. I don't want both outside ones. I could put a red one right next to a red one, but I think maybe this one. What do you think? If that was red right there, that'll make a nice arrangement, don't you think? So this is this flower coming right down this stem. So I'm going to come in here and give it some red. Remember, I want to leave a lot of the white showing. It just kind of sets off the color a little bit. I want it to look like it's behind this blue one. So I don't want to go over my blue flower there. I'm going to leave some of my white showing. So I'm kind of going on part of the white and then like right above the white in here. Do the same thing. Go over on the side a little bit with it and up on some of the white, but leave some of the white showing. I fill in a little of the black with the red. It's going to make a really dark shade of red there where it's just on the black paper. Put a little red back up here. I like that one. I don't think I'm even going to put any of the dark red on that one. It'll be just a slightly different shade. See how it doesn't have that kind of orangey look to it? It's just the red look, just kind of reddish pink. There we go. So now I'm going to fill in blues and purples. I got a purple here, so maybe we'll have 2 blues right there. This is my light blue. This is where we use the light blue and the dark blue. So put a little light blue in. Remember, leave some of the white showing. Just put a little light blue in some spots. And we'll come and put dark blue in some spots. Put some on top of the white, put some next to the white on the black paper. Switch to your darker blue. Get it down in here, put some dark blue on the black paper. Let some of that green stem keep showing. Okay, I'm getting a little dark blue up here in the top. I'm letting some of my green stems show through. I'm going to make the little top of this one dark. Looks a little lopsided over here. Let's add a few more little bits of flowers on this side. Okay, got my blue one there next to my little blue one. I'll leave this one to be a purple one. If this one's a purple one, I could put 2 purples here. I could put a couple more purples here, and then maybe I'll make this one blue out here. How about if I only use the dark blue on this one? What if I just use the dark blue? We'll fill in with just, I'm leaving a lot of the white showing. And I'm not sure if I like just the dark blue here. I might come back and put some light blue on it. What do you think? Kind of looks, it just doesn't quite pop as much, does it? I think I need that light blue to make it pop a little. Looks just a little dark there. So I'm going to add a little bit of the light blue in just a few spots. I think the light blue kind of helps set off the dark blue. Sometimes when you use darks, you have to have lights next to the dark to set off the dark, or vice versa. Lots of times you need a dark next to your light to make it show up. Okay, so I got my blues. I'm going to make these guys purple. So here's my purple. And I want this red one to show, so I'm going to make this purple peek in behind it. I'm going to leave a little bit of my white showing in places. So we'll fill in along in here, leave some white showing, leave a little of that black showing. Just makes for some interesting shadows on the flower. We don't want it to look too solid. And this one's going to be purple too, isn't it? So we're going to peek some of this purple right in between. I want it to look like that red flowers in front. So I'm going to peek the purple in behind it. A little purple, leave some white, leave some black paper showing. There we go. And then these two become purple over here. So we'll put a little bit of purple on them. Leave a bunch of white showing. Let some of that green stem show through too. Put some purple down here at the bottom of this one. And at the bottom of this one too. So we get a lot of purple going right down there by our knot. And what do you think? I think that filled in really nicely, don't you? Now, remember how we drew our green stems lightly? I want to come and press a little hard where I see my green stems. So come back in and press hard where you see the green stems. If you see any hint of green stem coming up, you can go back and press on those a little bit. I see a little bit in this one. I see a little bit in this one too, so we'll press a little hard wherever we left a little green stem showing. I could make a little green stem show right in here. Okay, now we want to come press a little hard down here too. I got to turn this so Miss Ginny can look at it from the right angle. We want to make sure these stems show. So come back in here and press hard on your stems you drew here. And we added quite a few stems up there and didn't necessarily add a stem down here, did we? So if it looks like we need to put a few more stems in, go right ahead, because we gave the impression of a lot of flowers up there. Okay, so I got my stems darkened. I'm going to take my black, this one says black on it, and right on my stems, on just one side of them, I want to put a little dark black line. Sometimes, remember what I said, if you have something light, you need a dark next to it for it to really pop and show up. So particularly since we're on dark paper here, I think coming right next to some of our stems, right where they're coming out of our knot here, I think that's a good thing to do. Don't have to do it on all of them, and the black line can go all the way down on some stems, but it doesn't have to on all of them. We mainly want to see it right there where it goes into the knot. Same thing on this side. I want these to get accented a little bit with some black, just so we see those stems a little better. See how they pop a little bit more now? I used a little yellow in my picture. Put a little yellow on my stems in some places. It shows up a little bit. So it's just like one more little accent we can add. You want to add a little bit of yellow into your stems here. Kind of want the yellow to go next to the black. Put a little bit showing in here. Okay. Now the only thing left is, remember we made this tiny little line, so that was our guideline where the stems came into our knotted ribbon. My stems look a little short over here. I think I might pull them down just a little bit. At least one of them. We'll make this one a little longer. There we go. And make the yellow come down a little longer. And our little black accent. There we go. Okay, now this is my knot. So I'm going to pretend it's just some very, very skinny white string or ribbon. I'm going to make where it crisscrosses over itself. I'm going to make it just a little bigger in here. So I get the feeling that it's a I've wound around and around. I want to get the feeling that I tied a knot and I've got the strings wiggling down. Those are the ends of my string. So it might wiggle and go right behind this one and wiggle down. Remember how we drew ribbons yesterday? When we made wiggles, how part of the wiggles get wider? So I might even make some edges a little wider. We'll make the little end kind of curl out a little bit. So I can make part of it wider. And there's my ribbon. What do I need to accent my ribbon? I'm going to pull out the little black here, and let's just give a few little lines, little outlines, just so it looks kind of knotted up here. I can make my black, I can give a little black edge to my ribbon. See how our black is darker than our paper black? So by putting a little line next to the ribbon right up against the edge of it, kind of sets off that white ribbon, lets you see it a little better. What do you think? Did you get a good bunch? Do you notice how I've got little speckles of colored pencil dust? So don't try to brush them off, but you can take them, tap them off like that. And we made a really cool bunch of flowers. If you want to go up and accent your flowers at all, at the very bottom of some of them, you could take the black and put a little line near the bottom. I wouldn't put them up very high, but you could put a little bit of shadow in the bottom of your flowers, just on a few of them. Put a little bit on this one. You don't have to put it everywhere. You don't need to put black at the bottom of your flowers if you don't want to. But it just gives that little added bit of dark shadow, kind of like when we put the black shadow on our ribbons yesterday. So there's my bunch of flowers. Bunches of flowers make a great thing if you haven't seen grandmothers in a while, or grandfathers in a while, or your best friend that lives in another state, or your cousins were supposed to come visit this spring. Write a note on it. Say love you bunches, or wishing you bunches of happiness, and send your bunch of flowers off to somebody. It would make a really great, cheerful note for somebody to get in the mail. So let me know what kind of flowers you drew. I wonder if anybody made, oh, what color didn't we use? I wonder if anybody made pink flowers. You might have made your flowers look more pink than mine. Mine look pretty red. So take some pictures, show me your bunches of flowers. Let me know if you're gonna send your bunches of flowers to somebody. If you're gonna mail them to your grandmother or your grandfather or your cousin or your aunt or your uncle. Somebody might have missed getting to come see you this spring if their vacation got scheduled differently. So let me know if you're gonna send it to somebody. Take a picture and tag us at Idea Studio. Today is Thursday, so we got one more day this week. Tomorrow's Friday. We're going to create a mixed media project that's going to look like a paint palette. It's going to be kind of fun. So join us tomorrow. Take a picture of your bunches of flowers and tag us at Idea Studio. And please, 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 please go on and order your bag for next week. Next week's our last week. We're going to be doing a painting and a bunch of other things during the week. And we have a limited number of canvases. So whoever gets their orders in first gets all our canvases. So go on, order your bag for next week. Next week will be our last week together. And keep watching our calendar. We're getting ready to post summer camps for this summer. We're crossing our fingers that we can figure out some good social distancing in the studio, setting up new workstations, so we have a safe environment to come and have camp. So we're going to do our clay camps and our art camps and keep watching our calendar. We will see you tomorrow. Bye.